Good afternoon. Welcome to another Thrill Pack video update. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video update. Got a couple things for you today, some pretty important stuff. I know it's been a little bit since I did the last one, so got a lot to get in today. First, went to the county manager's staff meeting. You have to go to the one at the end of the month, the deputy county manager, Mr. Hallman, and he had a couple of things for us to put out. First thing, that all county employees are encouraged to wear face masks in public. They're not mandatory to do that, but they're encouraged to do that. We know that SOPs and critical care guidelines and those things there regulate how you do with patient contact, but just in general public. So they're not mandatory, but it is recommended. Also, beginning in the very near future, I think next week, the county is going to have out mobile testing sites for the COVID-19, not the antibody, but the actual virus itself. So they'll be at different locations in the county, but the county is sending those out to check on the employees. I'm sorry, not the employees, but the citizens. The other thing is that one more thing is that we've got as you know, we've got, I think, 4 test sites out there, 4 engines that are trying the Health EMS Fire module as well as the Health EMS EPCR. We want to, the goal eventually, of course, is to get back to 1 incident reporting system per call, not 2, like we do fire records now and Health EMS for an EPCR. This will help us. So whether it's this one or another one, but this looks very promising. Please let us know your feedback, and we'll let you know that the testing is going to expand a little bit. We're probably going to include some more engines out there to run a check on fire, do the fire reports to make sure it meets our needs before we do anything different. All right, that's all I've got. Pay attention now. Donald Altman's up next with some information regarding our monitors. Take it, Donald.
Good day, everyone. If you don't know me already, I'm Donald Altman with Polk County Fire Rescue Logistics. I handle all of the equipment as far as EMS. This morning we're going to go over a couple of things with the monitors. A few things that we've been having some issues with, a few things that show up down in logistics that we think we need to address. One of the big things we've been having lately, we have been finding on our monitors, and I will show a couple of samples. A few of monitors have been showing up with this blood pressure cuff on it. We believe these are coming from Lakeland Regional. This is a Medline. If it does not come from Polk County Fire Rescue Logistics and it does not say Phillips on it, we need to try our best not to use that. And the reason being, it is not calibrated for our monitors, which means that it will not calibrate, it does not take blood pressure correctly, and that means it could actually do harm to our patients, and it's not going to read correctly. So we have 2 blood pressure monitors, or 2 blood pressure cuffs that we're currently using. Some of you have seen the reusable ones. Looks like this. So it's blue. This one you can wipe down, you can clean, use it over and over again. And this is the one that you're more familiar with. This is the typical one that we get. This is a more used single patient. This is the one that most of you use. You can order these through supplies. This is the only ones that you're allowed to use on our monitors at this time, please. Other issues we've been having with our monitors: electrodes, pre-leading. I will show you this. So on our monitors, some crews are being misled to understand, try not to talk so fast, that by pre-leading we're talking about this connection. We are not talking about this connection. We're talking about actually hooking the electrodes to this end of the monitor cables. This is not allowed to do. Philips does not recommend that. It causes several issues. So for us, our policy is new patient, new pack. There's several reasons for this. If you've ever had an ultrasound before, the gel that they use for ultrasounds, if you've ever had it, dries very quickly and they have to reapply the gel quite often. The gel that's used on this electrode is the same type of electrode gel. So if you take it out of this pack, or if this pack is opened, if I can get it open, if that gel is now being dried. So even if you close this like this and you stick it back in the monitor, it's still drying out. So our policy is if you open this, go ahead and use the electrodes and then discard this. We should be using all 5. As soon as you're done with it, throw it in the trash. Reuse it. Do not reuse our electrodes. So you want to, new patient, new pack. All right, so every time, start over with a new pack for every patient. We also need to be protecting these so they're not getting smushed. You want to make sure, we try to use them and store them on this side of the monitor so that way they're not being mushed. That blue in the middle of the electrode, I can get one out for you. This blue, once it gets depressed, starts releasing the, oh, that was very good, wasn't it, Chief? The blue area in the middle, once it gets depressed, you start releasing the electrode gel inside. When that happens, this electrode is not going to stick very well, and it also is not going to read. So we need to protect that as much as possible. So when you're allowing it and you stick it on the back side of this monitor, it's getting pushed, then we're already starting that process of not getting very good electrodes and not being able to read the electrocardiogram very well. So we need to start protecting that as much as possible. So making sure by doing that, by sticking it on the side, not sticking it on the back, and also making sure that you're protecting it as well as possible. So new patient, new leads, not pre-leading. Just by doing this, you cause a lot of failures on your monitors. We have a lot of crews that send these leads back in telling us that they failed when really they haven't failed. Another thing we want you to do is try to keep these monitor leads plugged in. This also keeps moisture from getting inside this area, which also keeps you from having monitor issues. A couple more little issues that we have. When to do an OBS check. The only time you need to do an OBS check on this monitor is when you have a red X. You should hopefully not have a red X. If you have a red X, usually it's because you're pre-leaded. If you have it pre-leaded, you need to remove the leads, run an OBS check. If you do run an OBS check and you're in OBS check mode, you need to follow the prompts on the screen. If it tells you to turn to 150 joules, you turn it to 150 joules. Believe it or not, we actually have crews that come in quite often that the only thing that they have failed to do on the OBS check, and the reason it fails, is they have not pushed the shock button or the charge button. That is very simple. Just simply follow the instructions on the screen. That sometimes clears out your problem. If it not, then you still contact the battalion chief or your logistics staff. And then lastly, what was the other one issue we're going to talk about, Chief? I think that's it. I think that was the big things. Anything else, you can contact logistics or call me directly. Thank you.